Welcome to Tranquilly Coding. This is our second video and this will be about creating the Appwrite account, setting up Android Studio project and adding Appwrite SDK to our Android Studio project. So let's start. Let's click on the get started. You can sign up with your email or password. I am going to go with sign in with GitHub and I'm going to authorize Appwrite. And it's done. So right now we're going to create the organization. Let's name it Tranquilly Coding. And we're done. Let's create a project. Let's call it Appwrite project. The project ID it will be automatically generated, so we won't be giving any. If you want to give one, you can just use one. This is the allowed characters. Right now they don't have any other regions available for deployment, so we'll be selecting the Frankfurt. We cannot actually select any other. So let's create, and it is done. So in here we don't have any platform, so let's add the Android platform. The app, we're going to name it Appwrite project. The package name, let's do com.pc.appwrite or any package name that you have. Next, and go to dashboard. So this is our project dashboard. We have our app. Now let's create the Android Studio project and we will try to add this to the Android Studio. So I have already created the name for the project and stuff. Let's start. The project is building. Let's go and add the SDK in here. So we want to start with the Android SDK. You can go get it from here, or we can simply go to the GitHub. So this is the Maven Central. I guess it's already there, and this is the implementation. So let's go back to the project. Okay, so build is completed. Okay, the empty package, I didn't select any activity. This is good, and we just paste it here, and we will make it Android SDK 34. We'll be using the latest one. Just ignore this warning. It is nothing. Everything that we'll use, it will be latest for 34. We update this as well. Okay, so let's try to build the project. It can take some time to build the project for the first time. Okay, so the build is done. So right now we will create a simple activity. Let's call it the splash activity. It is the launcher activity of the app. Okay, we're done so far. Now let's run this project, and in the meantime we check the documentation for the further processings. So for starting, we need to call the Appwrite SDK and start an API call to set up it properly. So we need to make our first request. So let's just create an account and use this code as an example. Once our endpoint, let's just get the endpoint. The endpoint is pretty straightforward. This is the endpoint, cloud.appwrite.io/v1. So that's going to paste the whole thing. Our project ID that will take us the project, set the project ID. So you'll get the project ID from here. Okay, let's copy it, let's paste it. It is self-signed. In here we have an error that is saying suspend function create should be called only from a Kotlin scope or another suspend function. So this create function is a suspend function, so you cannot call it directly from the activity. What we're gonna do, we're gonna use lifecycle scope dot launch, and inside that we will use this code. So I have the GitHub Copilot, and whenever I code, I have this thing activated to help me write the code. It is little bit faster, not like it's gonna give me a lot of facilities, but it saves you a lot of times writing some boring codes. It is not actually that much intelligent as like other AIs, for example ChatGPT or stuff, but this is pretty handy when you try to do something that could be repetitive or very simple, like calling some IDs. It is very much helpful. So let's add a log E. I am using log E instead of log D because it is more noticeable from the other logs like log D. So I convert it to user. Let's run it and see if it is run. If it runs, we go to logcat, and yes, the app run, and the user we got here, there is the user ID. This is the creation date, update date, the email and other stuff will be there, the email, yes. So we got the user as the session. Let's go back to console and see how it looks over there. This thing doesn't actually update properly always, but we can check it from inside the authentication. Yes, so we have a user and it is showing unverified. So we created an user. Let's try make another one. In here we're going to use like email1@example.com. We can add another parameter. So for example, what parameter does it use? So we can send user ID, email, password, and name. So let's say name we can use John Doe, and missed a comma, and let's run it again. We have the logcat, and there is another log, and this time we have the name John Doe. Let's go back to the console. We refresh the console. So yeah, now we have two users. One is the first one and second is the John Doe. So if we open a user, we have several different options like the name, email, phone number, password, labels. Labels is like a custom tag or role. If you want to say, like for example, if you're creating an app, there will be free member, premium member. You can set it directly from the role without creating inside the database. There is preferences. So your app has like a dark mode, for example. If the user chooses to use dark mode in all over his devices, you can call this preference and get the preference across all over the devices he has, and it will automatically switch to the dark theme whenever he is using his account or logging into his account. The preference will automatically take place there. So this is about it. We have successfully created our account, and yeah, now it's updated. It's showing one authenticated user, but we have actually two. Let's just delete this one. Okay. It's not 100% correct always. There is some delay of update these things. This is still in beta, so there should be. Okay, so this is the bandwidth uses. We make one request, but we actually make two, so this count will be updated later. So this is so far it. Now you know how to create a project with Appwrite.